Episode 2, Junko's Story. Gratitude for Small Victories. Junko's story continues as she navigates the challenges of cultural expectations and emotional barriers. In this episode, we uncover how the quiet practice of gratitude transforms her mindset. This is an exclusive preview from my upcoming book, The Millionaire Midwife, Birthing the True Self, where I explore how small victories pave the way for lasting success. When Junko first joined my classroom, she carried an invisible weight, the kind that comes from a lifetime of being told that what you have will never be enough. Raised in a society where conformity reigned supreme and personal aspirations were often stifled, she had learnt to focus on what she lacked rather than what she possessed. Her family life mirrored this scarcity mindset. She lived in a house filled with material objects but devoid of emotional connection, which is very common in Japan. One day I had cause to visit her home because I wanted to encourage her parents to push her, and they were resisting. I knew she was the youngest of 4 children and had 3 older brothers. Her father was a retired Manchuria War veteran of high rank, but once war was over, he became a desk slave. I knew from questioning Junko that she adored her father, but had absolutely no connection or communication with him. Silence was their bond. One day in class, I asked the students to tell me about their fathers. I provided lots of relevant vocabulary which they were not allowed to translate into Japanese. I used pictures, drawings and videos to illustrate the vocabulary, pandering to the students of English greatest complaint, lack of vocabulary. And they were beginning to relax more with me now and leaving their Japanese outside the sliding door so they could truly practice their English. I got simple, superficial, reluctant answers to my question from most of the members of the class, because children in Japan rarely know their fathers growing up. Fathers' lives in Japan are usually as salarymen, devoted to their companies or organisations and to providing for their household with finance. They may work up to 16 hours, 6 days a week, sousing themselves in alcohol and sleep when they do have time off to wind down. They smiled as they answered, but only flicked a minute eye contact at me. He's getting fat. He hates fruit. He forgot my birthday. He's always impatient with me. Then, Junko, tell us a little about your father. She was excited to talk, making full, consistent eye contact with me while the others looked down in hopelessness as she shone and bonded with me without any fear. There were many mistakes in her English, but her will to communicate this troubling relationship to me was strongly propelling her, and I was adept at interpreting all non-native attempts at English by now. My father always silent. He never tell him feelings or him life. When a child, he never enrich my imagination by sharing pictures of his mind. This intrigued me. The others couldn't follow at all. I probed a little, shocked. Do you mean he never speaks to you? Yes. Her eyes filled with tears of neglect. She struggled to go on against the growing silent disapproval of her peers, who are taught never to express emotions in any form outside the home. I think he don't share because they not exist. As his daughter, I so sad that my life had no pictures. I not find my own pictures for many years and felt nothing. I searched for them every day, but decided it was my fault, not his. We never speak words or eyes. She recovered a little. as I tried to comfort her across the arranged rectangle of sterile desks. I wanted to pick her up and hug her frail body, but I knew that would bring shame. Her strong, deep voice continued, determined to let me know this, ignoring the increasing weight of discomfort as the others bowed their heads in a kind of collective shame. He's sick, thin, weak. He tuberculosis. I helped her with the difficult pronunciation. The sound R and L are non-existent in Japanese, so some English words are almost impossible for them. I inwardly cringed at this disease, brought on by dampness and humidity, still existing when it has long been eradicated in Europe and the New World. He only makes sound of cough and rasp, always distant, at home. What does he do for a living, Junko? She searched madly for the right words, resisting translating, avoiding the Japanese whispers of the others, desperate to rescue her with familiar life belts. Does he work with his hands or his head? Hands. He make tatami mats, these rush mats in home, dust and dry all day. She went on to tell how the doctor visited him one day on his balcony, where he sat all the time to cool down his lungs. She was shocked when she heard him speaking tersely to the doctor. His voice was gruff, words like stones dropped into a deep tank, and she knew then that the tank was deep, but empty, sterile. She broke down now, but recovered again, letting out the tension with a unique one-way valve, speaking this sorrow in a foreign language, which she could never do in Japanese. When his condition was at its worst in the winter, he had to sit outside on the flimsy balcony and make a little fire in the fish grill to warm himself. The cold air was the only thing that stopped his incessant coughing and allowed the bleeding of his lungs to subside. I watch from inside as snow settle round him and on bald head. I squeeze and try make my picture of him now. She squeezed her eyes tightly together, but it ice in summer. Later, I learn my pictures and feelings from women mostly, but when he there, his like a storm in summer, make them stupid, easy to vanish. They like ice on a hot day. I empty tank like him, and when I speak, my words they drop into deep tank. Some members of the class were crying softly now, but Junko went on, releasing more and more pressure through her unique valve, so it would be gone forever. My next question was daring, because I knew the class was coming to an end, but I took a chance. Is he working today, Junko? In Japan, when people die, they do not disappear, but become a revered ancestor watching over their loved ones. No, he die now. He not silent now. I happy to see him at Obon when we visit family grave. He talk me now. The electronic buzzer sounded, and the class had come to an end. I thanked everyone and Junko for their stories and told them to write about their family members in English for homework and send it to me by email. 100 words. 100? Many of them were appalled by this. No, not characters, not kanji characters. 7 or 8 words can be represented by one kanji. 100 words or more. I knew most of them would write exactly 100 on their phones with their stubby thumbs working like the north wind and count them manually because their digital literacy was nil. Junko lingered, recovering, trembling a little, and I approached her. There was something remarkable about Junko, a spark. While others in the classroom passively absorbed lessons, she dared to engage. She asked questions, looked me in the eye, and had the courage to challenge the norm. Even so, she was paralyzed by fear, fear of failure, fear of judgment, and most insidiously, fear of believing she could ask for more.